give me an idea a little bit about the timeline on this decision? Once the game ended on Tuesday night, I know you guys usually have meetings afterwards. Did this come as a result of that meeting?
No, basically it was something that we had been talking about, just the way the team had played the last few weeks, especially the last week of the season. And we had a good season, won 90 games, but we really controlled our own fate at the end, and ended up losing 5 in a row to end the season, and we could have, if we'd won a couple of the last 3 games against Pittsburgh, we may have been able to play the playoff game at home, which might have made a difference. So there was factors like that. There are a number of other factors involved, but it was, I think, after losing the last 6 games and losing that playoff game was probably when the final decision was made.
Was this your recommendation to Mr. Castellini?
Yeah, this was something that was discussed with members of my staff and other people in the organization, and I discussed it with Bob, and he gave me his thoughts, and as the president and CEO of the club, he makes the final decision.
You know the talent, you know what the abilities of these players were. Was it your feeling they weren't playing up to capabilities, and maybe Dusty wasn't getting the most out of these guys?
Well, I think that's the one thing I want to make clear, that we're very appreciative of what Dusty was able to do here the last 6 years, and getting us into the postseason. But I think we felt that it was time for a change and go in a different direction, because we just didn't feel like there was enough from the players the last few weeks of the season. I think there was evident that a change was probably needed, and I think there's certainly enough blame to go around, but I just felt there was time for a new direction, new leadership.
You hear fans say this all the time. He lost control of the club. Do you believe that to be true?
Well, I think that that could be a possibility. I think I don't know if he lost control, but I think maybe the message just wasn't being was clear enough to some guys, and it just wasn't. They weren't performing as well as they should.
When often you make a change, you're looking for a different kind of a voice. A lot of these guys, Dusty's been their voice they've been listening to for 6 years. Is it a different kind of approach that's needed, a different kind of voice?
Yeah, probably, but I think right now it's something that we will try to determine here in the next week or so. Determine the type of candidate we want, and put a list together of guys that we'll talk to. And I think certainly there were problems with injuries and so far this year, but we also felt that there were some guys that probably could have done a little bit more.
Was Dusty's health at all a factor in this? We know, the stroke a year ago, he seemed to come back strong. I'm wondering if that played a part at all.
No, not at all.
Okay. His successor, you said you're going to put together a list. Will Brian Price be on that list?
Yes.
Okay. So he is not right now the guy that you'll go to. You're going to look over a lot of candidates?
Yeah, I think right now I think we will. Brian is certainly a candidate, but we will look and within the organization, also outside the organization, see if there's candidates that we feel that we'd like to talk to, and then within the next couple of weeks we'll start an interview process.
It's well known your regard for Tony La Russa. Will he be a candidate?
I don't think so, John. I think Tony is through managing. He's made that quite clear to a number of people. So I would say probably not. No.
Well, there was a series that I thought that this team, it was a road series. I think they finished up badly at Milwaukee, and I kind of felt like something was just, things weren't clicking at that time. Was there any consideration back then to changing things at the top, or was Dusty your man to the end of the season?
Yeah, Dusty was. There was no thought at that time, but it was clear that we were not. We just didn't play well against Milwaukee. We didn't play well against the Mets, and we beat Houston 3 games, but I think that just the way we kind of played the last few weeks really was an indication that it was not going in the right direction.
I know Mr. Castellini has talked about Dusty as a man and as a manager. I have to think this was a tough one for him to swallow.
Yeah, I think it was tough for all of us because we all think of Dusty as a friend, and have been friends with Dusty for a long time. We were both together in Oakland in 1986, and so I've known him for quite a while, and it's tough. But it's Mr. Castellini will tell you it's a business, and sometimes you have to make tough decisions.
What does a manager? What does it mean in terms of wins? What does it mean in terms of the motivation? It seems like a lot of people differ on what a manager means to a major league team. You're in the front office. What do you think the manager's most important role is?
Well, I think there's a number of things that the manager has to be able to do. He needs to, number one, be able to communicate and motivate his players. I think that's probably the one thing that's probably the number one on the list. I think the interaction with ownership and the front office, the media. There's a number of different things, and just how they operate and run their clubs day to day, the discipline of players, and so forth.
Let me finish with this. Do you think there's guys out there where you see that players really want to play for a manager?
And you mean different clubs?
Yes.
Oh,
looking at different times, and maybe this you didn't see this as much here.
Yeah, I think I've seen that certainly with other clubs. I saw it here for a period of time, but I just don't think we saw it as much this year, and certainly not towards the end.
Okay, Walt, I take it you're not doing interviews on camera, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just trying to, we didn't want to do a press conference, John. We just felt it best to handle it one-on-one like this.